Hello again, Bill Pfeiffer speaking from Marysfield. So very, very good to be with you. Dostoevsky, the famous Russian writer, once said that everybody's afraid to say a new thing and everybody's afraid to do a new thing. And boy, does that describe us in the current situation here in our country, doesn't it? We're afraid to speak. We're afraid not to speak. We're afraid if we do, something's going to happen. They're going to censor, whatever. There's always an insecurity, and we're constantly censoring ourselves, and not a good thing. Last night I had a treat. I watched for about an hour or so Victor Davis Hanson, Hanson on YouTube, absolute intellectual giant. The talk that he gave at a college, Pacifica Christian, I think it was, about an hour or so, and then a Q&A period afterwards, which was extremely well done as well. And I recommend it to you. It can give you some understanding of what's happening with a man who really understands things. You have to hang in there. It's not easy going sometimes, but it might offer you some kind of peace and wholeness in a very difficult time. In my own prayer time today, I bumped into Daniel, the book of Daniel, and the very last thing in Daniel, and it reads like this. In Judea there was a prophet, Habakkuk. He mixed some bread in a bowl with some stew he had boiled, and was going to bring it to the reapers in the field, when an angel of the Lord told him, nice story, take the lunch you have to Daniel in the lion's den in Babylon. But Habakkuk answered, Babylon, sir, I have never seen, and I do not know the den. The angel of the Lord seized him by the crown of his head and carried him by the hair with the speed of the wind. He set him down in Babylon above the den. Daniel, Daniel, cried Habakkuk, take the lunch God has sent you. You have remembered me, O God, said Daniel. You have not forgotten those who love you. While Daniel began to eat, the angel of the Lord at once brought Habakkuk back to his own place. On the seventh day, as the king came to mourn for Daniel, Daniel looked up, and sitting there, the king cried out, You are great, O Lord, the God of Daniel, and there is no other beside you. Daniel he took out, but those who tried to destroy him, he threw into the den, and they were devoured in a moment before their eyes. Paul tells us that for those who love the Lord, everything works out for good. And boy, it certainly did for Daniel there. All kinds of good things happen. Habakkuk got a free trip there and back. Daniel got a free food. For those who didn't love the Lord, the lions got a free meal. And so it ended up being a good thing. But the important thing is loving the Lord and trusting in Him in these times that are difficult. Let me share a beautiful story with you. This is really one of my favorite stories like this. Even if you have wet wood that you're dealing with, boy, it makes things come to fire. Just real good things. The first day of class, our professor introduced himself and challenged us to get to know someone we didn't already know. I stood up and looked around when a gentle hand touched my shoulder. I turned around to find a wrinkled little old lady beaming up at me with a smile that lit up her entire being. She said, Hi, handsome. My name is Rose. I'm 87 years old. Can I give you a hug? I laughed and enthusiastically responded, Of course you may. And she gave me a giant squeeze. Why are you in college at such a young, innocent age? I asked. She jokingly replied, I'm here to meet a rich husband, get married, have a couple of children, and then retire and travel. No, seriously, I asked. I was curious what may have motivated her to be taking on this challenge at her age. I always dreamed of having a college education, and now I'm getting one. After class, we walked to the Student Union building and shared a chocolate milkshake. We became instant friends. Every day for the next 3 months, we would leave class together and talk nonstop. I was always mesmerized listening to this time machine as she shared her wisdom and experience with me. Over the course of the year, Rose became a campus icon, and she easily made friends wherever she went. She loved to dress up, and she reveled in the attention bestowed upon her from her other students. She was really living it up. At the end of the semester, we invited Rose to speak at our football banquet. I'll never forget what she taught us. She was introduced and stepped up to the podium. As she began to deliver her speech, she dropped all of her 3x5 note cards. Frustrated and a little embarrassed, She leaned into the microphone and simply said, "I'm sorry, I'm so jittery. I gave up beer for Lent, and this whiskey is killing me. I'll never get my speech back in order, so let me just tell you what I know." As we laughed, she cleared her throat and began. "We do not stop playing because we are old. We grow old because we stop playing. There are only 4 secrets in staying young and being happy and achieving success. You have to laugh and find humor every day. You have to pray each day, and you've got to have a dream. When you lose your dreams, you die. We have so many people walking around who are dead and don't even know it. There is a huge difference between growing older and growing up. If you are 19 years old and lie in bed for 1 full year and don't do one productive thing, you will turn 20 years old. If I am 87 years old and stay in bed for a year and never do anything, I will turn 88. Anybody can grow older. That doesn't take any talent or ability. The idea is to grow up by always finding the opportunity in change. Have no regrets. The elderly rarely have regrets for the things they did, but rather for the things they did not do. The only people who fear death are those with regrets. Regrets over their children, their spouses, their God. Remember I mentioned to you, I've been at the deathbed of 450 people, and that's what they say. I wish I had spent more time with my husband, my wife, my God, and prayed a little bit more. She concluded her speech by courageously singing The Rose. She challenged each of us to study the lyrics. It's a pretty song, you really heard it. At the year's end, Rose got the college degree she had begun all those years ago. 1 week after graduation, Rose died peacefully in her sleep. Over 2,000 college students attended her funeral in tribute to the wonderful woman who taught by example that it is never too late to do all and to be all that you can possibly be. So remember, growing older is mandatory, but growing up is always optional. Happiness tomorrow always it demands doing the truth today. God bless you. Good to be with you. Look forward to being with you again.